Hello, I'm Austin Colcord, and I'm showcasing my project for the web development project at Northeastern University. And this application is essentially, it's called Prepper, and it basically is a project management tool for restaurants, specifically with the kitchen itself. So in the kitchen, they typically have their recipes for different items that they cook. And this is supposed to be able to organize all of their recipes into one convenient place and also create an organized prep list. So that includes a to-do, in progress, and completed, and also timers. And you can create one timer, multiple timers, pretty much whatever is needed for the person working with the application. So essentially, I'll just start off by doing a short demo. So we'll click the login page. So this, you can either log in if you have an account created, you could register normally, or you could log in or register with your Google Plus account. So to start off, we have a public piece to this website where you can just simply explore recipes through a public API called Food to Fork. So we'll try this out. Essentially, what you do is you search for anything. Let's do chicken pot pie. And after this search completes, it shows up with a list of items, and we can see down there's typically about 30 or so items. And so say we're interested in one, let's just do this chicken pot pie recipe. And on the right, this shows up with the details of the recipe, specifically an image, the title, and a list of ingredients. Some of the recipes actually show up if there's a sauce associated with the recipe, or something like that, like a side. A lot of the ingredients lists actually separate these out. It just depends on the recipe. As you can see, the directions themselves aren't included into this. Unfortunately, that's just not part of the API. But I did include the link to the source website. So if we click that here, this will take us to where the recipe is located. And we have a set of instructions right here. Obviously, these are all different types of websites, so they may be formatted differently on each one. That's basically the public search. So back here, let's just start off by registering normally. Let's just create a username. Let's just do A Colcord, Austin Colcord. Let's just do the same as the username for now, A Colcord. And let's just make up a restaurant ID. This has to be a number, and essentially this can be anything you want. The rule associated with the way my application works is that the first individual to sign in using a restaurant ID of any number becomes a manager automatically. So I'll talk more about that as we go in. So let's just do 78987. Okay, so we're in. Essentially, it just brings you to the manager profile page. Here you'd have your account information, so your name, your username, your email, and the restaurant ID we just entered. And also, we have a list of employees. Currently, no one has signed up under this restaurant ID other than this account, so there's no employees associated with this restaurant yet. From this point, you could edit the profile. You can change the name, the first name, the last name, anything you want. The email. The email does have to be a valid email address. So if I take this out, and I'll explain more in a second, but basically you'd have to enter your current password. So that was A Colcord, and the new password can either be the same or a new password. So a colcord. This is just to verify that someone else couldn't change your account information if they tried, if you happen to leave this logged in. So let's just click update. Okay, so edit. So So as we go in, we have on the bottom left, there is a recipe book. Then the next page is a prep list. And then we have a list of timers. Currently, this is empty because we haven't created anything yet. So let's just start off by creating a simple recipe. Let's just call it, let's kind of go with our chicken pot pie here. So chicken pot pie. We can put in a description. This is all these are optional. It's just whatever type of recipe would suit the need of the restaurant or whoever's creating it. They can pretty much just add in whatever they like. So let's just put in my favorite chicken pot pie. This is kind of like an entree, but you can put in a soup, sandwich, salad, side dish, dessert, or other. This can obviously be expanded later as we continue development of this project. And then you can just enter a prep time. This is essentially an idea of how long it might take someone to prep this dish. So, you know, if you wanted to figure out, oh, do I have enough time to prep this, you know, this meal? If it took me 40 minutes, then you might think, okay, maybe I don't. Say if you wanted to make a quick dish, if you were running out of food at your restaurant or something like that. So this obviously doesn't have to be exact, but it can be a good estimate for that use. So let's just say 10 minutes. And then at this point, we can add ingredients. So we can just say like chicken. Let's just say, for instance, 1 cup, diced. And each of these fields can be, the name field and the measurement field can be in whatever format you like, but the amount must be a number, and I'll explain why in a minute. So let's just do chicken, chicken broth. Let's just do 1 cup. Let's just do, what is it, pie crust, 1. And we don't need to put anything in here because that's pretty self-explanatory. And then let's just do something a little more interesting. Let's just do salt, 1.5 teaspoon, and then maybe mixed vegetables, 2 cups. And then over here is essentially your directions, however you feel fit. You want to describe how you cook this dish. Let's just start off by saying cook chicken fully. Bake. Obviously, these descriptions, this directions can be however specific you desire. And then let's just do place cooked chicken, vegetables, and chicken broth in pie crust. Cover with pie crust. So that can kind of be the way you might want to enter these directions. Obviously, there can be more than that. Okay. Say we add 1 more ingredient. Let's just put in something that obviously doesn't belong. Let's just do beef, 1 cup, diced. All right, so for instance, let's just say we put that in there accidentally. Obviously, that would be hard to tell you did accidentally. So let's click save. So this gets organized into a neat little table here. We can see the prep time's 10 minutes. Our description is right here. The type is an entree, and we have our directions. Here is a timer. I'll show that in a minute exactly how that works. Right here we have a multiplier. So if you look at all these amounts, I said before that these had to be a number. This is exactly why. So you can increase this, and it automatically portions out. Basically, if you did 3 portions of this chicken pot pie, it would automatically update how much of the measurement of each of these ingredients you'd need to make that amount. So that's kind of neat. So we accidentally put this guy in here. So we can click Edit Recipe, and very easily we can just remove it right there and save. So now it's gone. Okay. So we have a few other buttons here. The first is up here. There's a little plus. This is essentially the spot where you'd add the item to the prep list. So right here, I said before, we have a prep list. Currently, there's nothing here. So if we go back into, you can actually see now we have our chicken pot pie here. If we go back and we click plus, changes to a little plus there, and we have our chicken pot pie in. I'll explain more about the prep list in a minute, but let's go back into our recipe. Here, we can add a timer for any time we want. So let's just say 40 minutes, right? Essentially what this does is it creates a timer based on the title of this recipe. In the future, this might be good to break this out so you could actually title the timer here, say if there's 2 different parts to the recipe. But for now, this is how it works. So we click Add Timer. You can see check mark to make sure we actually did it. Go to our timer list, and we have a timer created for us. And I'll explain more about this page as well, because there's a little bit more to it. Okay, so back at the recipe book, there's a few more features here. The first one, I'll explain the search in a minute. But we have this button here as well. This also adds the item to the prep list. So say you had 10 items in the list, and we want to add this one to the prep list very quickly. You just click it, and it adds it immediately to the prep list. So we have 2 now, and that's just because we added the same recipe twice. But that can definitely happen, so leaving that flexibility open. Okay, so let's add another recipe. So if we actually click up at the top, there's a search button. This is that same API, the Food to Fork API, where we can search anything we want. So let's just do veggie burger. Typically, this has been quick. Okay, let's try something else. Go back, and let's just do burger, something a little more simpler. Did work before, I'm not sure. Nothing's going wrong. It could be their service at this time being a little slow. Okay. All right, so let's refresh the page just to see one more time. Burger. Food to fork. Perfect time for it to go down. Okay, well, we saw it before. It did work. Their site must have just gone down. Hopefully it'll be up soon again. So let's just create another recipe manually. Let's call it a veggie burger. Let's just say we have our pre-made veggie burger patty 1. That's fine. Let's just say burger bun 1. Let's just say cheddar cheese, say 1 slice, and then say ketchup 1 tablespoon. Okay. So let's just leave all this blank for now. This is just an example. So let's save that. Let's just say let's throw that on the timer for 2 minutes. And the prep list as well to show that we want it to actually be going in. So let's, now that we did that, we can actually say, okay, put burger on stove. Yeah, let's just say we did that, right? So we can either hit enter and that'll save the note, or we can move it over. Let's just say I want to sign it as well. That also just adds the tag, the note to it. And of course, these can't be removed by another user accidentally. Okay, so we have a veggie burger in here, a chicken pot pie, and our timer. We can actually see we have a veggie burger here. It's about almost 1 minute remaining from when we started it. And the chicken pot pie has about 35 minutes left. Okay, so back in the prep list. Let's say we got stuck on our veggie burger and said missing, or yeah, looking for burger buns. Well, ran out of burger buns. Okay, so that's a note. Let's just say we ran out of burger buns. And for the moment, we can put it back into the to-do list. For instance, say you wanted to get started on the chicken pot pie. Okay, so these can also be sorted. So for instance, if someone comes in the morning, say the chef, and they want their helpers to essentially go through the to-do list in order, they can actually say, okay, I want them to do the veggie burger first. And if we refresh the page, that's saved. So if we actually go in anywhere else, the order remains, and they can actually just say, okay, I want that veggie burger done first. Also, we can filter these recipes. So say we had a lot of recipes going on in here, like many tasks were going on, because say this was a big kitchen and we just want to filter how these are working. So let's just say burger. So immediately we filter our veggie burger out. And right here, we can move this over. So that'll get saved and we can just delete our filter. So we have our chicken pot pie here, our veggie burger here, and back over here we have our chicken pot pie still in the to-do section. And also this tag here, whenever this gets moved over into the in progress list, it records the to-do time, or the started time, sorry. And say we finish our veggie burger. Let's go back over to our timers. Oh, our veggie burger timer was done, so we can actually just remove that. And I left this here in case, you might want to you don't want to forget what you set a timer for. So I'll leave that in there so someone can manually remove that when it's completed. So we can go back over here to our prep list and let's complete our veggie burger. So our notes are still in here. We have our started time, so basically when it was moved to in progress, and our completed time as well. And say we can put this one in there too, and we can remove stuff as well. So say at the end of the day we want to clear this out, we can just remove our items and then start with a brand new screen. Okay. So we have our 2 items in here, and just like in the prep list, we can filter. So we can say veggie burger, chicken pot pie, those simply filter like that. Also, one thing we're not seeing here is on the left side, I had created it so everything over here is from the last 5 days, whether that was created, modified, or added to the prep list. Essentially, its last used date will set it to be viewable on this side as well as the all side. Since we just created both of these a couple minutes ago, those obviously won't they'll stay on this side for the remainder of this demo. That's just one feature as well. Okay, so next, like I said, we don't have any employees at this moment, but say we want to add an employee. So I'll start a new tab, go back to web dev project, and we can just go there to our login page, and we can sign in with a Google this time. Let's just do that. Board. So we're signed in using a Google account, and I added this tag over here to just indicate that this is a Google Plus account. I did that because when we edit the profile, we don't want to be able to edit any of this information, such as first name, last name, or email, just because the application is pulling that information from Google itself. So there's no need to do that. So before we add a restaurant ID to this employee, since when you create a Google account, the restaurant ID is not one of the fields when you sign in. So I had to make it so you could add this after the fact. Let's just click on our recipe book. Okay, so this says, please add a restaurant ID to your profile in order to view and create recipes. The prep list as well does the same thing, and so does the timers. So essentially, you need to have a restaurant ID associated with your account in order to actually create anything. Okay, so let's make this account an employee of this restaurant. So we can do that just by using the same exact restaurant ID, and we can just click Add Restaurant ID. Okay, so that's in there. And once you add a restaurant ID, you can't change it after the fact. So the only way to change it is to delete your account. There's just various specific reasoning where I thought that, especially for a manager, once you get tied to a restaurant ID, you don't want to lose track of your recipes. So I essentially just lock you in there. That way, no matter what, you can always view the recipes, prep list, and timers associated with you and that restaurant. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that means in a minute. So you can go back to our profile, and if we refresh this page for our manager, we can now see we have one employee. However, he's not active. If we actually go on our employee over to the recipe book, we can see that the error message has changed. It says, please ask your restaurant manager to activate your account in order to view recipes. And that's the same with the prep list and the timers. Okay, so if we want to do that, it's pretty simple. The manager would say edit profile and access, and they would simply just check the box to update that. And that's it. The update profile, since this is a non-Google account, they can still update the profile information, but once this box is checked, it immediately activates this account over here. So we can refresh this page, and now we can see all the recipes for that restaurant, as well as the prep list and the timers, except for one scenario. So for instance, this manager has a timer still going for the chicken pot pie. However, the user doesn't see that. That's because the timers themselves aren't really associated with the restaurant ID. However, let's say this user wants to add a veggie burger to the to-do list. So we can go to our to-do list and we can see the veggie burger here. And on the manager's side, if we go actually to that prep list, it is there as well. And this guy can go AC, started it, press the page or go back. We see AC in here. Okay, so let's add a timer for 3 minutes. Our employee has a 3-minute timer going now. He still can't see that chicken pot pie going. However, the manager can see the employee's timer. So essentially the manager is allowed to see all of the timers going for every employee that is under that restaurant ID. However, the users, the employees themselves that are not managers, can only see the timers that they create. So this is just to eliminate confusion when two employees are working on different devices. They may not want to see each other's timers. However, a manager would want to see pretty much everything that's going on in a restaurant. And on either side, if the employee deleted this timer, it would go away. Or if the manager can also delete this timer, just in case for some reason this employee left this timer going, or this employee deleted their account. That way we don't have any extra timers just sitting around when they're finished. So say let's delete this account from the manager's point of view, and let's refresh the page for the user or the employee, and now it's gone. Okay. So that's the main set of features for this application. And just like before, like I said, these can both be sorted. And on the manager's side, he would see that that sort had also changed. The manager can filter veggie burger, and so can the employee chicken pot pie. So those features are also very useful. So I hope that I can continue work on this project. One specific feature that I'd really like to implement going forward is to make sure that I can implement what's called WebSockets. So if you see how these are actually different now, but if I refresh each of these, oh, this one is having trouble. Oh, that was just filtered. Never mind. Okay, so say I click this guy over to the to-do. This doesn't get updated automatically unless I refresh the page or jump to another page and jump back. So one of the features that I'm planning on implementing soon is to allow this to live update using WebSockets. So that's pretty much it. Here, we can log out. And here we can also log out. And that's it. So essentially, the two types of human actors that I identified were a restaurant manager and a restaurant employee. So there's the two types of users, which have their type of information associated with them, such as their first name, last name, email address, restaurant ID. And we have user-to-user relationships because a manager can manage multiple users or employees. We have user-to-domain object relationships because users can all have recipes that they control or prep list items, and especially timers that they have individually. So that's a one-to-many relationship. The many-to-many relationships is the prep list with the multiple users. And the domain-to-domain relationship is the prep lists themselves each have a oops. Oh, right, that's a new user. Okay, cool. So going to this account, I actually created it with this one. So this account has this prep list, and the many-to-many relationship is each of these prep list items relate to a recipe through this link. If you click this link, you can see the recipe itself. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.